there! Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you'll stick around with me today and paint this misty evergreen scene. It's so atmospheric and it was just delightful to paint. Today we'll be using a green. You can use really your choice of green today. I'll be using my Hokker's Green Light and accidentally a touch of deep Hokker's Green. These are from my MeiLiang palette. I'm using my size 6 Intuition round brush by Artegria. I have my ceramic watercolor palette, a dish of water, and a cloth for dabbing any puddles. Let's get started. So today I really want to do a landscape of just a variety of evergreen trees, and I pulled out my metallics paint palette because I thought that would be so fun. So I'm going to start with my spray bottle because I'm going to do these wet on wet, and I just want to mist this. I want it, just wet enough. And for this, I'm going to use my Hokker's Green Light, and I may pull in my deep Hokker's Green as well, but I like this Hokker's Green Light. It has a bit of blue in it, so does deep Hokker's Green. And just going to start right here. I want a good amount of this. But then I want a light wash because I want to do some of these in the background, and those should be kind of lighter. So just to get started, roughing out these faint little trees just by brushing back and forth, kind of swishing back and forth with this. And obviously it's really going crazy with that, with the water. And so I will go in just on these outer areas where it's a little more than I want. I feel like this could be a little something here too. So if I'm not too fussy, and then just pulling down that center. Oh, that's fun. And then just keeping this kind of a light wash. Just kind of making these side to side. I feel like maybe that other side got a bit more of the water than this side. So I'm going to try to fix that a little bit with this, with just a little spray. And then maybe I can just kind of touch some of that water up there. It's so possible to just kind of go crazy with that, but I think that worked. Just kind of get this. But isn't it interesting how leafy this looks? Just interesting. I love these, just kind of ethereal and almost misty, maybe. Really love that. This does not really need more of that pigment, like to that degree. I just kind of thought that center maybe needed a little definition, and now I kind of think maybe not. It was so nice and loose, and so I'm just kind of pushing and distributing this pigment elsewhere. And then just kind of make this a little less, a little softening up these side-to-side strokes. Okay, and then maybe with this darker, maybe we want to do something a little more in the foreground. Gosh, I just almost want to leave that. I kind of love that, but we will. But I do think I'll go with just this darker value of the Hokker's Green Light. I'm going to give this another spray. I hope I don't eradicate everything back there, but I do want this still to be soft. Well, sometimes that will just eradicate everything that you've already painted, so you kind of get what you get. And then just pulling the center of the tree down. And then just kind of going side to side, kind of dots and dashes, kind of. I think this is a little too much up here, so just going to blot that. You can see I got a little fiber in that, but maybe I can get that out later. Little dots and dashes, just going side to side. Just this beautiful and simple foreground tree up here. Now, because we start at the top, see, we have all those deep tones there, deep values, and so we want to bring some more of that. We don't want to be the very top to be the darkest. And I accidentally grabbed a bit of that deep Hokker's green. That's okay. You know, maybe my heart just really wanted that. But bringing these deeper values into the rest of the tree helps to give it some dimension. And just look how easily this comes together. You're just kind of doing dots and dashes in this wet, on this wet paper. It just almost paints itself. And then I'm going to rinse and dry my brush and kind of just touch this where I think there's a little too much pigment out there. And I just pushed that pigment into the more of the center of the tree. And now I'm just taking my brush, rinsing it off, and dragging some of that water off. Then I'll brush below here. Most of my water, I'm just brushing that off. Then I'm going to go up into this and touch this green and just kind of drag it down. And clean this up a little because I don't love these puddles right there. Just kind of distribute that a little. That works quite well for me. One last thing I might do is just with my wetted and blotted brush, I'm just touching this dark portion up here and then kind of touching some other places. I'm basically picking up a little pigment and then I'm just redistributing it elsewhere because it was a little dark for me, I felt. And anywhere else that you think you should just push a little of the pigment, you can just do that. Okay, so I saw something here that I wanted to come back and just work on a little more. And it is this area right here where when I resprayed, I lost really just so much detail. And I actually had some of this green kind of go up into the sky up here, which isn't really ideal. But I'm going to admit, I don't know that I mind it. I don't know. It's probably just laziness in me. I'm not sure. But, you know, these things that I used to fuss and lose my peace over, now they just are not such a big deal. But, and I love this. I even love that this foreground tree here is still quite atmospheric in just its nature. And so I'm good with that. But I think I would like to add a little more of this detail back. One of the things that I didn't mention earlier, and it is entirely because I didn't remember it, was that when I put in this foreground tree and I was worried about losing some detail here, I really could have blocked off parts of this painting to just get my spray, you know, more in this area. And so now that's what I'm going to do for this because I want to respray this and just give this a little more, not definition, but definition. And so what I'm going to do is block off this right here. You can use about anything for this. I happen to have a piece of plastic that I recycled from a clothing package. And so what I'm going to do is just block off this area and spray here. Now, one of the things I want to watch for is after I've sprayed it, this plastic may have water that could drip. And I just want to watch this edge because when I remove it, I don't want that water to drip onto my painting. So I'm just going to cover this. I'm going to give my bottle a test spray on my cloth and then just give that misty little spray right there. I feel like it might could use one more. and it's kind of hard to tell. So what I did was I tilted my head so that I could use the light shining across this to see. And now, because I got that wet up there, I was able to kind of pull a little bit of that pigment off of there. One other thing is that sometimes the water will pool on this curled edge here. And so just trying to, keep tabs on that. But I'm going in with this light wash of this Hokker's Green Light. And just, again, going in. I'm starting at the bottom this time so that I keep the darker value of my pigment kind of near the bottom of this. And just dots and dashes across here. And just do that one. And then go ahead and do this one kind of quickly. And then I'll go back if I need to. But remember, these aren't really, they don't have a lot of detail because they really are just kind of in the mist back there in the background. Just kind of back and forth on that. But yeah, that works. And it's not quite as soft as this other side, but that's okay. We're not trying to be matchy necessarily. And I'm just wetting my brush, rinsing it, and then dragging that off because I have maybe a little too much detail back here, but so just kind of softening that up. I love it. Yeah, that needed that little bit more, maybe definition. I think I'm going to blot this outer part of this tree here, just with my little cloth. There we go. And if you find an area that seems to have maybe more pigment than you like, just wet that a little and then push at that pigment with your brush. You can dab it. See, I just didn't like those two little globs of pigment there. There was another one here, but it's gone. So there you go. I love that so much. That was so much fun. So much fun. I want to soften this little guy here. See if I can come back and you can see I'm a little shaky today, and I love that it just doesn't matter with something like this. So there you go. That was so fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to know if you painted with me. Please leave a comment. Of course, I'd love it if you like and subscribed. And as always, happy painting.